Welcome back guys. Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine Part 2 is now available on PC platform, released just yesterday, sequel to Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine Part 1 that was released way back in 2011. It's a third-person shooter hack and slash game. In this game we play as Titus, a lieutenant of the Ultramarines chapter and returning protagonist from the first game. Titus is accompanied by fellow Space Marines Kyran and Gadriel throughout the campaign, who can be controlled by other players in the game's cooperative multiplayer mode or by artificial intelligence in single player. I'll be just playing through the game's campaign mode. We'll be testing the game on my Rog Ally Z1 Extreme variant of the device. People who had purchased the Ultra or Gold edition of this game were able to play the game 4 days prior to its official release. Now I've already done my testing on Rog Ally. This game is very demanding. At 720p resolution, low preset, FPS mostly stays within a range of 30 to 40. In some demanding sequences, FPS can drop down into the mid-20s. I am surprised that this game does not support any form of frame generation, but I was able to get LukeFZ's Uniscaler FSR 3 mod working with the game. Had to disable the game's easy anti-cheat implementation, as this game does not support DLSS frame generation. Enabling frame generation via LukeFZ's Uniscaler Mod will cause the game's interface to flicker, as FSR 3 has no HUD-less image to work with. I'll also run the game using AFMF 2 and lossless scaling's frame generation technique. We'll be comparing the performance of all of these frame generation techniques. AFMF 2 is AMD's driver level implementation of frame generation. In order to get it working on your Rog Ally, you need to download AMD's latest technical preview GPU driver that was released on 6 September. I covered it in my Baldur's Gate 3 video. LSFG is a universal frame generator, works on any GPU, included with a paid application called Lossless Scaling that sells on Steam Store for around $7. This is the preview GPU driver from AMD that I am talking about. Supports AFMF 2, released on 6 September, optimized for Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2. First I'll show you how to disable the game's ESC implementation. This is required for using LukeFZ Uniscaler Mod, not required for using AFMF 2 or lossless scaling. After disabling ESC, you won't be able to access the game's online modes, no multiplayer. Your teammates will be controlled by AI. Select the game in your Steam library, right click, manage, click on browse local files. This is the game's install directory where the game is installed. Just open client PC folder, then open root folder, then open bin folder, open PC folder. There's the game's exe file. In this directory, you need to create a new text file. Right click anywhere in the blank area, go to new, click on text document, open it. Just paste these lines. I'll provide them in the description of the video. You can copy the lines from there and paste it here. Then click on file, click on save, close this file. Need to rename this file. Right click, show more options, rename, select the entire text. We need to change the file's extension as well. Change the name from new text document to run game and set the extension to .bat. It should look like this in the end, run game.bat. Yes. Now in order to run the game with ESC disabled, just launch the game using this batch file, run game.bat. Don't launch the game from Steam. I observed a minor improvement in the game's performance running on Rog Ally with ESC disabled. Just launch the game. First I'll run it without any frame generation technique. For this game I've set the UMA buffer size to 5 GB. My Ally is running on BIOS version 339, 720p resolution. Using a 25 watts manual profile, all 3 power values set at 25 watts, CPU boost disabled. Using a custom afterburner overlay to show you the performance metrics. Here you will see this error message, EOS login error, as we have disabled ESC. Show you the adrenaline settings. FreeSync enable, VSync disable, anti-lag setting enable, AFMF 2 disable for the time being. Version of adrenaline software 24.20.11.01, released on 2nd September 2024. Connected my GuliKit KK3 Max gamepad to Ally via Bluetooth mode. In-game settings, display mode full screen, 720p resolution, FSR 2 upscaler enabled using its quality preset. VSync off, motion blur intensity nil, no FPS cap applied, low preset. That's it. I'll straight away load a very demanding area, big open area. We'll be fighting against hordes of alien creatures. There's Lieutenant Titus standing inside a compound. Here FPS is around 40. We'll be fighting against the alien creatures soon. Keep an eye on the FPS counter, leaving this compound. Almost hitting the GP bottleneck. VRAM usage is around 4.3 GB. Oh my god. Look at these creatures. Not sure what they are. 30 FPS, 27, 26. See? This game is very demanding on both CPU and GPU. (28 to 33 FPS). Input delay. Not using any frame generation technique. You can definitely play the game on Rog Ally, but this is not the ideal experience. Creatures are still coming. Use my ability. Equipped a sword. What's going on? Tank was pushing me. I was wondering why my character was moving by himself. It was actually the tank. Okay, so now I'll be running the game with LukeFZ Uniscaler Mod. First I'll show you how to install the mod. 26 to 40 FPS base performance. LukeFZ's mod is not free. You need to subscribe to their Patreon in order to gain access to their Discord server where the mod files are present. Their monthly subscription costs around $6 US. Show you where to download the mod from. Just go to their Discord server. I've opened it. Click on FSR 2 FSR 3 installation under mod section. Scroll down until you find this section, regular FSR 2 FSR 3 installation. Then click on this blue link, mods.lukefz.xyz. Make sure you're signed into your Patreon account. Then this page will pop up. Just expand Uniscaler download section. From here, download the latest version of the mod. At the time of recording this video, it's preview 10 build of Uniscaler. Expand it. First download the common mod files. Click it. Then download Uniscaler. Click it again. These are the two archive files that I just downloaded. First extract the contents of uniscaler.zip file. Right click, then click on extract all, then click on extract. Open the Uniscaler folder. Now copy this ASF file Uniscaler. Need to paste it in the games installed directory where we created the batch file. Select the game in your library, right click, manage, browse local files. Open client_pc folder. Open root folder, open bin folder, open PC folder. This is the directory. Paste. This is the ASF file. Now extract the contents of uniscaler_common.zip file. Extract all. Extract. Now open the extracted folder uniscaler_common. Just copy winmm.dll, winmm.ini and uniscaler folder. Paste them in the same directory where you pasted uniscaler.asf file. Right here. Go back to the extracted folder. Open stub_nvngx folder. Execute this registry file. Enable signature override. Run. Yes. Done. Copy this DLL file nvngx. Paste it in the same directory where we pasted the previous files. Back. Right here. This directory. Now we need to generate the mod's toml file. It will be generated automatically when you run the game with the mod installed. Make sure ESC is disabled. Run the game using the batch file. Run game.bat. Here you'll see this black window with some logs indicating that the mod is working. Exit the game when the menu pops up. We need to tweak the toml file. The toml file will be present in the games directory where you install the mod. There it is, uniscaler.config.toml. Open it. By default, upscaler is set to FSR 3.1, FSR 3_1. You can switch to XeSS version 1.3 if you want. Just replace this text with XeSS like this. I'll stick with FSR 3.1. Frame generator set to FSR 3_1. FSR 3.1 will be used. If for some reason you want to use FSR 3.0 frame generation, just replace FSR 3_1 with FSR 3 like this. Again I'll stick with FSR 3.1. Revert the chain. Now you need to set fake NVIDIA GPU to true. By default it's set to false. I made this change. True. That's it. Just click on file, click on save, close this file, launch the game with ESC disable. Just execute run-game.bat file. Same internal in settings, VSync enable, VSync disable, anti-lag setting enable, 720p resolution, display mode full screen, FSR 2 upscaler using its quality preset, low preset, motion blur disable. Load the same sequence. There's Titus. I'm inside the compound. Now we are getting 70 to 80 FPS. I can observe the added amount of smoothness. See, unfortunately I'm also observing some graphical artifacts. The crosshair is flickering. There is some ghosting around the character model. And let me just show you the game's HUD elements. Yeah, they are flickering as well. This is the problem with LukeFZ Mod. This is happening because this game does not support DLSS frame generation. FSR 3 does not have a HUD-less image to work with. In the open area, expect the FPS to drop 53 to 60 FPS. Input delay is not a problem. Ugly ghosting. There is no fix for this problem at the moment. It's a shame that this game does not support FSR 3 at launch. I really hope Saber adds FSR 3 to the game soon. It really needs it. This particular area is very demanding. Still it's running in a playable state on Rog Ally. Throw some grenades. Don't have any allies. So 55 to 75 FPS in this sequence with FSR 3 frame generation. No issues with the input delay, but ugly graphical artifacts like these. Now I'll be running the game with AFMF 2. Uninstalling the mod is very easy. Just delete these files: winmm.tll, winmm.ini, nvngx.tll, uniscaler.log, uniscaler.config.tml. Also delete this file, uniscaler.asi, and this folder, uniscaler. That's it. Launch the game with ESC disable. Looking for that bad file, there it is. Open Adrenaline software. FreeSync enable, VSync disable, anti-lag setting enable. As the game's FPS won't exceed 60 on Rog Ally. AFMF 2 on. Frame generation status active. Search mode set to high. This will help in preventing frame generation from getting disabled during fast visual motion. Performance mode quality. Using Adrenaline's overlay to show you the performance metrics. Afterburner won't be able to show the true FPS with AFMF 2 enabled. Same settings as before, 720p resolution, FSR 2 upscaler, its quality preset, motion blur disable, low preset. We are inside the compound. FPS is within a range of 70 to 80. Can observe the added amount of smoothness. Okay, there is some minor ghosting around the character model. When I move the camera in complete circles, I am observing some flickering around the crosshair as well. The graphical artifacts were more aggressive with FSR 3.1. AFMF 2's performance is similar to FSR 3's performance. Leaving the compound, keep an eye on the FPS counter. Drop down to around 50. Didn't drop below 50. Increase to around 57. Explosion, perfect. Engage in combat. Swinging my blade. Teammates Kyran and Gadriel, open the gates, the objective. Good performance using AFMF2. Input delay is not a problem. Frame generation lag value around 20 milliseconds. See, game's HUD elements are not flickering. You can even use AFMF2 with the game's online multiplayer mode. Best part is AFMF2 is absolutely free. You're not done yet. You can even parry enemies' attacks in this game. Enemies are staggered. You just need to press the L1 key right before the enemy's attack lands. My teammates kill the enemy. I have 2 guns. Yeah, so really impressed by the performance of AFMF2. Now I'll be testing the game with LSFG. Just some minor graphical artifacts with AFMF2. See, I'll show you LSFG setting. Launch lossless scaling using LSFG version 2.3. Frame generation mode X2. It will try to double the FPS, not using any of lossless scaling upscaling algorithms. Performance mode disabled. Clip cursor setting enabled. Sync mode set to default. Max frame latency set to 1. Draw FPS setting enabled. Capture API DXGI. Status administrator setting enabled. Hotkey for enabling LSFG. Control Alt and S. Minimize the application. Launch spacebar into with ESC disabled. Same adrenaline setting. FreeSync enable. Anti-lag setting enable. AFMF2 disabled. FreeSync off. Using Afterburner overlay to show you the metrics. 720p resolution. FSR 2 upscaler enabled using its quality preset. Motion blur set to off. Low preset. VRN. I'll just enable LSFG. Press its hotkey. Control Alt and S. Yeah, it's working. Base FPS dropped down to around 36. FPS with frame generation 70. to 70 FPS. You can definitely observe the added amount of smoothness. There are some graphical artifacts. Crosshair is flickering. Character's head is also flickering. Game's HUD elements are not flickering though. Just leave the compound. LSFG is more demanding than AFMF2 and even FSR 3. Okay, in the outer area FPS dropped down to around 25. The base FPS is frame generation around 50. 57. We were getting roughly the same performance using AFMF2 and FSR 3A. The thing is, FSR 3 and AFMF2 does not show the base FPS to us. They show the final FPS, the FPS with frame generation enabled. Game is running smoothly even with LSFG. Okay, I am observing some garbled textures around the left and right edges of the display. They are more noticeable when the base FPS drops below 30. I'll just switch to LSFG's performance mode. It will reduce the GPU load. Back to the game. Yeah, base FPS increased to around 30. Graphical artifacts have become more aggressive. See, flickering around our character model's head. Garble textures around the left and right edges. Performance wise in this game, FSR 3.1 was the best in my honest opinion, but it was the worst in terms of graphical artifacts. Produced very aggressive graphical artifacts, as this game does not support DLSS frame generation. FSR 3 had no HUD-less image to work with. AFMF 2 was the clear winner, produced the least graphical artifacts. Latency was not a problem again. You can even use AFMF 2 with the game's online mode. This is LSFG's performance. Graphical artifacts are present